You stand at the precipice of romantic love, many of you with a heart overflowing, a spirit eager to give, a profound yearning for a connection so deep, so all-consuming, that it transcends all earthly bounds. You believe in a love that mirrors your own intensity, that reflects your own selfless devotion, a perfect symmetry of affection. You pour your essence into her. You see her as the singular embodiment of all your deepest desires, the answer to your existential loneliness, the ultimate prize in the human experience. You are ready to merge, to lose yourself in the intoxicating dream of absolute reciprocity. But what if this profound, idealistic vision of love, particularly the way you experience it, is a cruel and fundamental delusion? What if the intensity of your romantic yearning, the singularity of your focus, is inherently asymmetrical, destined never to be fully met by the object of your affection? What if, as the profoundly pessimistic, yet terrifyingly insightful philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer grimly revealed, she simply cannot love you the way you love her, because her love, at its deepest, most unconscious level, serves a different, more ancient, and far more utilitarian master. This is not a cynical dismissal of all affection or a bitter condemnation of women. It is a stark, uncomfortable unveiling of a fundamental, biological, and psychological dynamic that, once understood, can shatter your romantic illusions and leave you with a haunting clarity. It is an invitation to strip away the comforting veneer of romantic idealism and confront a brutal truth that, according to Schopenhauer, lies at the heart of human relationships. Until you grasp this inherent disparity in the very nature of love, you will remain a captive of your own illusion, perpetually seeking a reciprocity that is, by design, impossible to achieve, and forever vulnerable to the profound disillusionment that inevitably follows. Schopenhauer's will to life, the primal engine of deception. To comprehend this haunting revelation, we must first immerse ourselves in the chilling philosophy of Arthur Schopenhauer and his central concept, the will to life. For Schopenhauer, the universe is not driven by reason or divine benevolence or even human desire in the conscious sense. Instead, it is governed by a blind, irrational, ceaseless, and insatiable striving force, the will to life. 1. This will is an unconscious primordial urge that underlies all phenomena, driving everything from the growth of a plant to the deepest human instincts. 2. Its ultimate, singular purpose is its own perpetuation, the endless continuation of the species. 3. And here is where Schopenhauer delivers his most unsettling blow to romantic idealism. Sexual love, the very passion you feel, is nothing more than the will to life manifesting itself in its most cunning and deceptive form. It is not, he argued, a beautiful, unique connection between two individuals for their personal happiness. Instead, it is the will to life the species, will using individuals as mere instruments, as unwitting pawns, to achieve its own blind, reproductive ends. The intoxicating feeling of romantic love, the intense attraction, the feeling of finding your soulmate, these are all exquisitely crafted illusions, powerful narcotics administered by the will to ensure propagation. You believe you are choosing her because of her unique qualities, her personality, her smile, her spirit. Schopenhauer would laugh. He would assert that your conscious reasons are mere rationalizations, pretty justifications for a much deeper, unconscious imperative. The will to life is interested only in the potential offspring, the next generation. It manipulates your deepest desires, your very perception of beauty and destiny, to ensure the optimal genetic pairing for future survival. You are, in essence, a wingless creature, crawling in circles, believing your ardent chase is for a unique feather, never realizing you are merely fulfilling the species' biological imperative to fly, irrespective of your personal desires. Your pursuit is driven by a hidden puppeteer. What true agency can you claim if your most profound desires are merely the cunning whispers of a blind, unconscious force? What freedom is there, In pursuing love, if your very passion is a sophisticated biological trick designed for procreation, not personal fulfillment. This understanding is the cornerstone of Schopenhauer's chilling insight. Love, as we experience it, is a grand, elaborate deception, played by nature upon the individual, for the sake of the species. 4. The male condition, enslaved by the species. Will? Now, let us turn Schopenhauer's piercing gaze specifically upon the male condition within this grand deception. For men, according to him, love manifests as an overwhelming, often irrational, and highly specific drive towards a particular woman. You are ensnared by the species will, with a fierce, almost obsessive intensity. You see her as unique, as irreplaceable, as the singular key to your happiness and fulfillment. Your desire is focused, powerful, and often leads to an intense, self-sacrificial pursuit. You become a soldier seduced by the shimmer of his enemy's blade, believing it to be a glorious prize, never realizing it is an instrument designed for a purpose far removed from your personal well-being. This profound longing, this romantic idealization, compels you to overcome obstacles, to dedicate immense resources, time, money, effort, emotional, energy, all in the singular pursuit of her. You are compelled to protect, to provide, to prove your worthiness, to impress, because the will has implanted in you the powerful illusion that your individual happiness, your very meaning, is inextricably linked to possessing this specific woman. This is why men often idealize. This is why rejection can feel like a profound existential blow, not just a personal slight. This is why men pursue endlessly, often against their own better judgment, driven by a biological imperative disguised as an ultimate personal desire. The will uses your passionate longing, your capacity for singular devotion, as a highly efficient mechanism for narrowing the field, for focusing your resources on one optimal genetic pairing. It blinds you to other options, makes you overlook flaws, and imbues the chosen woman with an almost divine significance, ensuring your complete dedication to the reproductive imperative. What freedom is there in a desire so potent it feels like destiny, but is merely a biological mandate? What joy can be found in a chase where the prize, though perceived as unique, is valued for its generic utility to the species, not its specific intrinsic worth to you? Schopenhauer argued that the male is thus profoundly duped by the will, driven by a powerful illusion to propagate, mistaking this drive for ultimate personal love. The female condition, the species, will's instrument. And here is Schopenhauer's truly haunting revelation regarding the female condition within this framework. While the man is manipulated by the will through a powerful, idealized, and specific romantic love, the woman, Schopenhauer contended, is the will's more direct and pragmatic instrument for reproduction. Her attraction, at its fundamental unconscious level, is less about a singular, passionate, all-consuming yearning for a specific man's individual qualities, as the man feels, and more about securing the best possible conditions for future offspring. Her focus, driven by the species' will, is on what the man represents for the future. Is he capable of providing resources and security? Is he strong and healthy enough to protect? Does he possess good genes for the next generation? Is he stable, reliable, and socially capable? Her love, therefore, is inherently more conditional, more practical, and less personally focused than the man's idealized vision. It is a love that evaluates, assesses, and selects based on criteria that ultimately serve the survival and flourishing of the species, not the individual man's romantic fulfillment. This is why, Schopenhauer claimed, women are often less prone to the same kind of blind, self-sacrificing romantic folly as men. They are more grounded in the practicalities of life, more keenly aware of the necessary conditions for raising offspring. Their love, therefore, is a means to an end for the species, a profound biological function, not an end in itself for the individual man they are with. They accept the man not for his sake, but for the sake of the children, or the potential for them, and the security he offers to that future. The love she offers is not the love that sees you as the ultimate end. It is a love that uses you as the necessary means to the will's end. What crushing disillusionment awaits the man who believes he is loved for his unique soul, when, at an unconscious level, he is primarily valued for his utility as a genetic contributor and a provider for a future that primarily serves the species. What reciprocity can there be when one loves with a selfless ideal and the other loves with a pragmatic, species-driven calculus? This is the heart of Schopenhauer's haunting revelation, the fundamental asymmetry of love, where one is consumed by the illusion, and the other is the clever instrument of the ultimate illusionist. The illusion of reciprocity, the heartbreak of the pursuer. This fundamental asymmetry creates a profound and painful disconnect, the illusion of reciprocity. The man, caught in the will's powerful enchantment, pours his intense, specific, idealized love onto the woman, genuinely believing he is loved in return with the same profound depth and singularity. He believes he is loved for his intrinsic qualities, his unique personality, his devotion, his very being. But the haunting revelation is that, at a fundamental level, her love is for the idea of what he represents for the species' future, for his qualities as a means, not for him as the ultimate end. This is the very essence of the nice guy paradox, viewed through Schopenhauer's lens. The good man believes his kindness, his unwavering support, his self-sacrificing nature will earn him the same depth of passionate, unconditional love he feels. He offers comfort, stability, and agreeable devotion. But these qualities, while appreciated for their utility, do not necessarily ignite the primal spark of attraction that leads to the intense, almost irrational desire men feel. Why? Because the species will, in its ruthless calculus, prioritizes strength, provision, and robust genetics for its own perpetuation. Kindness is a desirable trait for a partner, but it is rarely the singular, irresistible magnetic force that compels initial choice and sustained passion. The heartbreak lies in the fundamental misinterpretation. You are pouring champagne into a bucket designed for water and wondering why it doesn't hold the effervescence you expect. You are offering the love of a devoted individual, and she is accepting it through the lens of a species-driven selector. The man perceives himself as loved for his unique essence. The woman, perhaps unconsciously, perceives herself as having successfully secured a valuable asset for her life's trajectory and potential offspring. This dynamic leaves the man feeling perpetually unseen, unappreciated for his authentic self, and ultimately used by a force he cannot comprehend. What agony awaits the heart that believes it is forging a singular, eternal bond when the other party is merely fulfilling a biological mandate? What tragic irony is it to dedicate your life to a love that, at its core, is fundamentally conditional and utilitarian? The illusion of reciprocity is the will's cruelest trick, ensuring men remain devoted to a mirage of personal love that serves a species-level agenda. The emotional toll, the unseen costs of misunderstanding love. The failure to grasp this fundamental asymmetry, this haunting revelation, exacts a severe emotional toll on men. They are left in a state of perpetual confusion, frustration, and often profound unfulfillment. Firstly, there is the corrosive feeling of being used or unseen. Men often feel that their efforts, their sacrifices, their very being are consumed, yet their deepest personal longing for reciprocal love remains unmet. They feel like a resource, a tool, rather than a uniquely cherished individual. This leads to a quiet resentment, a sense of being perpetually shortchanged in the grand bargain of love, because they believe they are playing a different game entirely. Secondly, there is the spiral into bitterness and cynicism. When the idealistic vision of love inevitably clashes with the pragmatic reality, men can become deeply disillusioned. They may retreat from relationships, convinced that love is a lie, that women are inherently manipulative, or that their own capacity for deep affection is a burden rather than a gift. This cynicism, born of shattered illusions, poisons the well of future connection. Thirdly, there is the perpetuation of the endless chase for an impossible ideal. Because the will's illusion is so powerful, men continue to chase that elusive reciprocity, seeking it in different partners, in different relationships, never understanding that the fundamental asymmetry is not a flaw in any particular woman, but an inherent aspect of the human condition, as revealed by Schopenhauer. This becomes a Sisyphusian task, perpetually pushing a boulder up a hill, only to have it roll back down, guaranteeing perpetual unfulfillment. You are building a shrine to confusion, sacrificing your genuine desires on the altar of manufactured reciprocity. What existential loneliness is more profound than believing you are deeply loved, only to realize that the love you receive is fundamentally different in its nature and purpose from the love you offer? What psychological damage is inflicted by a life spent chasing a mirage of perfect romantic symmetry? The unexamined nature of love, as Schopenhauer revealed it, leads men into a profound emotional quagmire, where their deepest longings are tragically misdirected. 5. Breaking the spell, asceticism, intellect, and the path to disillusionment. So, how does one escape the tyranny of this will to life, this haunting deception? Schopenhauer, being a pessimist, offered a grim yet intellectually liberating path, a radical form of disillusionment. 6. He argued that true freedom, true escape from the endless, suffering-laden striving of the will, comes from understanding its mechanism and then deliberately detaching from its influence. His solutions were primarily intellectual and aesthetic. Aesthetic contemplation, losing oneself in art, music, or nature, where one can momentarily transcend individual desire and perceive the universal forms, thus quieting the will. 7. Intellectual contemplation, through philosophy and rigorous thought, gaining knowledge of the will's true nature, seeing through its deceptions, and thereby weakening its hold. Asceticism, denial of the will, a radical detachment from worldly desires, embracing celibacy, poverty, and self-denial, akin to some Eastern philosophies, to starve the will and achieve a state of quietude. 8. For the modern man, a literal adherence to Schopenhauer's asceticism might seem extreme or undesirable. However, his core insight provides a pathway to self-sovereignty. The power lies in knowing the truth, however painful. This means developing a profound intellectual detachment from romantic illusions. It's not about becoming emotionally cold or avoiding relationships. It's about seeing love for what it fundamentally is, through Schopenhauer's lens. A powerful, often beautiful, but ultimately deceptive drive orchestrated by the species, will. This radical disillusionment is not easy. It's the terrifying act of pulling back the veil, of seeing the puppeteer behind the romantic play. It means accepting that your intense, idealized love is a unique male burden and gift, and that expecting an exact mirror of it will lead to inevitable disappointment. It means understanding that her love, while genuine in its own way, often operates on a different, more pragmatic frequency. This is the courage to embrace an uncomfortable truth, rather than clinging to a comforting lie. What freedom can you claim if you remain perpetually ensnared by an illusion that causes you endless suffering? What genuine connection can you forge if you refuse to understand the true nature of the forces at play? The path to breaking the spell is the path of knowledge, however bitter its taste. Reclaiming authentic love, or its true nature, the sovereign choice. So, what does this haunting revelation mean for modern men seeking love? It means shifting your paradigm from the romantic ideal of perfect reciprocity to a more grounded, more honest understanding of love's true nature. It means reclaiming your own sovereignty, not by abandoning love, but by approaching it with clear eyes and a profound sense of self-awareness. Firstly, cultivate radical self-possession and purpose independent of her. Stop making her the sole vessel for your fulfillment. Understand that your intense desire is often the will's trick. Instead, anchor your life in your own mission, your own values, your own creative endeavors. When you are a man pursuing his own purpose, his own self-authorship, your attraction becomes magnetic, not needy. This is the man who embodies sovereignty, drawing others in, not desperately chasing. Secondly, redefine reciprocity not as identical feeling, but as mutual respect and shared purpose. Acknowledge that while her love may not manifest with the same specific, idealized fervor as yours, it can still be deeply genuine and valuable in its own right. Seek a partner who respects your sovereignty, who shares your values, who contributes meaningfully to a life you are building together, and who appreciates you for who you are, rather than just what you provide. This is a conscious choice for a partnership built on tangible alignment and mutual contribution, rather than a phantom ideal of merged souls. Thirdly, embrace disillusionment as liberation. The recognition that love is often a biological imperative does not diminish its beauty entirely, but it strips away its most painful illusions. This allows you to engage in relationships with open eyes, understanding the underlying currents, and thereby protecting yourself from profound heartbreak. You can appreciate the beauty of the experience without being enslaved by its deceptive promises of perfect mirroring. This intellectual clarity is your shield. Finally, and perhaps most crucially, direct your intense capacity for love, that profound masculine yearning, not solely towards a single individual as an ultimate end, but also towards creative pursuits, philosophical inquiry, self-mastery, and contribution to the world. Channel that immense energy into building a life of purpose and meaning that is independent of any single external validation. When your deepest love is for your own becoming, your own truth, your own contribution, then your interactions with others, including women, come from a place of abundance, not desperate need. The path beyond Schopenhauer's haunting revelation is not one of cynical isolation, but one of radical self-awareness and courageous redefinition of love. It demands that you shed the romantic illusions that have kept you enslaved to a false promise of perfect reciprocity. It requires you to understand the will's game, and thereby refuse to be merely its pawn. Will you continue to chase the illusion of a love that perfectly mirrors your own, perpetually seeking a reciprocity that is, by nature, unachievable, leading to endless frustration and disillusionment? Will you remain a wingless creature, caught in the will's deceptive currents? Or will you have the immense courage to look upon Schopenhauer's haunting revelation with clear eyes, to dismantle the romantic myths that bind you, to step into the terrifying, yet infinitely empowering, work of truly knowing love for what it is, reclaiming your own sovereign emotional and intellectual landscape, and thereby building relationships based on truth, respect, and a shared, conscious purpose? She can't love you the way you love her, but understanding why is the first step to truly loving yourself and attracting a connection that is genuine, however imperfect. Reclaim your sight,